The anime of Attack on Titan has officially come to an end, and I am more than happy to report that I am more than satisfied with it. One of the worries that I kind of had with this ending is the polarizing takes that many of the fanbase had when the manga ended. To say that the fanbase was divided is to put it lightly. People saying that it's too predictable and it felt rushed. I cannot speak to, well, at least at the moment, I cannot speak to how this unfolding happened within the manga. So I cannot really make a one-to-one argument against those criticisms, but from what I hear, the anime pretty much stayed true to the manga. If that is indeed the case, I really don't see why people were saying that it felt rushed. What else did you actually want from this? It pretty much covered everything that it needed to, and it did it masterfully. With the predictable part, okay, is that necessarily a bad thing? I was pretty much expecting the only way this is going to end is Eren is going to die. I think that's pretty much on a lot of people's minds going into the last chapters of the manga and into the last episodes of the anime. But to be in the thinking of like, oh, it's predictable, so boring. To subvert the expectations of your audience just for the sake of subverting the expectations of your audience is not good storytelling. To be like, oh yeah, you were thinking it's going to go this way, fuck you. Shock factor does not translate into good storytelling. Doesn't matter that it's predictable because it serves the purpose of the story and the message that it holds. If people are watching this or read the manga and they sided with Eren throughout this whole thing, I'm pretty sure they are the ones that are just like, this is absolute dog shit. My literary comprehension of storytelling is absolutely zero. It is a shame how there's still a pretty vocal group of people that watch the entirety of Attack on Titan, and what they got out of it is to support the cause of the Jaegerist. No matter the ends, for me, genocide will never be a fucking answer. Trying to justify genocide is a losing battle because genocide cannot happen without the loss of innocent lives. The loss of innocent lives just because you have this hatred or this deep sense of patriotism within you does not justify that deep sense of patriotism that would make you think that, oh, because of this oppression that they did to us, then we are entitled to kill all of them. You know, they did that to us as well. If you keep being in that mindset, can't you see just how the cycle fucking continues? War is a fucking cycle. It's a problematic thing that people still come out of this with such a mindset that the Jaegerists are in the right. Because the thing about war is it's never right. To keep on pointing blame on one another will lead fucking nowhere. And it's a fucking shame that conflicts always arise because of that stupidity of humanity to keep on being so lost and blinded by their rage and hate for each other and holding contempt that they just fail to see how stupid it all is. Nothing can be more better encapsulated by the quote that Sasha's father said upon being given that knife to kill Gabi. We've gotta keep the youngins out of the forest, otherwise ain't nothing gonna stop it from happening again. That's why it's up to us adults to shoulder the sins of the past. And it's just such a beautiful sentiment that's unfortunately not ingrained with a lot of people. Because if it was, world peace would be attained And that's an impossible fucking thing now, ain't it? But having said all of that, I actually did feel a sense of conflictedness by the end of AOT, and that sense of conflictedness is had with that after credit scene. It's a pretty fucking bummer thing to show, but I think it's a realistic take. It really confronted me with the sense of being realistic and having idealism at odds with each other. I feel like Isayama had to deal with that as well. I think Eren and Armin's talk within the past was a great outlet that helped Isayama speak to the audiences per se, while still of course serving the characters of the story that he has made. Within that talk, you cannot help but feel a dread of like, so was it all for nothing? Eren did all of this and still it results in humanity pretty much annihilating everyone. Armin even highlights this by like saying essentially, what the hell is this? Does it all mean that it's all for nothing? And this is where that title comes in. The entirety of the story that was told by AOT is so beautifully bleak, because by the end we can see that essentially everyone died. It's a post-apocalyptic world and there's maybe a few handful of people, or maybe couple hundred, let's say, we don't know. And this kid just walks up to this tree and assumably starts the cycle of the Titans yet again. Even despite what Eren did, having eradicated all of the Titans, human nature is to just fucking keep on that cycle of war. That's its message that you could get from it at the first glance, I guess. Humans are doomed by their own being, and we just love to fucking self-sabotage ourselves. The bleak nature of humanity is that it's nice to have that hope that we'll have world peace, but humanity just seems so fucking stupid to actually reach that point. It really drives in a sense of hopelessness. But that's the thing. It's easy to fall into the trap of nihilism after seeing such a thing. But what AOT again fucking provides us within this fucking conflict of feeling like, okay, what the fuck, are we just bound to kill each other over and over again? And is there no end to all of this? They answered that question with a yes. It's harsh and it doesn't provide much hope, but it's important to also realize that reality of it, and despite that harsh reality, to still persevere against that and to still have hope and idealism is the purpose of our humanity. Even in that meaninglessness, we make our own hope, and that shouldn't be more encapsulated by the scout regiments themselves. Just fight. Fight for what's right. Even if it means marching to your own death, it's much better than just laying down there when you could still die, at least fighting for what you believe for. Pretty much what the GOAT Eren did. Don't be the beta flock, which that's another subset which I really do not get. I don't get why there's so many people that like flock. Like, I do not get it. I really don't. But yeah, don't be flock in that situation of like, well, we're going to die regardless. Why still go and fight? Because you fight on for what you believe. You fight on to give meaning and purpose to your life. Because if you die not having fought for what you believe, then you have lived a meaningless life. What does that leave of your legacy? Do not fall into nihilism and just be recognizing of the absurd nature of everything. People tend to fall into the trap of nihilism, and once confronted with the fact that life has no meaning, they ask, then what is it all for? I personally believe that being confronted with the meaninglessness of life and realizing that life has no meaning, then so what? So what? We are already here. We fucking exist. Why the fuck do we need to bum ourselves and try to constantly find meaning in a meaningless existence? Once you get to embrace it, to embrace the realization that life has no meaning, it is such a freeing notion. And that is what essentially I feel the grand lesson of AOT is. This is ever more present with Armin talking to Zeke in the path. So we can see Zeke just truly fucking encapsulate nihilism to a T. Just being in the mindset of, well, life is suffering, why live it? That's why he's in great support of the euthanization plan. He is at a point of just admitting defeat to the meaninglessness of life. Zeke then tries to elaborate on like, what is life all for? It's just a cycle. Looking at it at a pretty reductive point of view of like, yeah, humanity just exists to repopulate and to just keep on extending this life of our species for the long term. But then Armin just hits him with a simple, but yeah, I don't really care about that. The meaning of life isn't that. The meaning of life is the mundane things that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And Armin reminisces on those days where of his childhood of just running around with Mikosa and Aaron, not having a day's worry about what it all means, just existing in the moment. And that's just the point of it. And Zeke recognizes that as well. Or just the simple beauty of existing, of not giving a worry about anything else and just throwing ball with someone you love. That's the meaning of life. Isayama has made a masterpiece of storytelling. It's such a beautifully composed piece of human nature, of just exploring that and our faults and the beauty had within those faults. In a word, it's just so human. That's it. And that's in essence what all storytelling should be as well. To be human, to elicit something within people and to move them. I for one am very moved, Isayama, and I thank you for everything. I think I pretty much lost all of the people that was initially here to just see was like, oh, what has he got to say about this show and not about the fucking meaning of life. On the technical perspective, it's nice to feel that AOT twist for one last time. Just the absolute marvel of Isayama's storytelling with that final drop of Eren sending that titan to his own mother. But that was a nice taste. Like, that moment just really reminded me of all the moments within this entire show of just those what the fuck what revelations. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I guess I'm going to conclude this with just a message of live life and to just say, make meaning out of the meaninglessness. Do not give into the void, rebel against it. We're already here, so why not fucking enjoy our time on this dear earth? Okay, so yeah, goofy ending.